All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back live on the air. Sorry for the technical option there. We had a little bit of a issue, but we're back. Rob, we're back on the air. We're back live, pal.
We're live! Yay!
So right now we've got Charlotte versus Natalya with the Lumberjill on the outside. Is it Lumberjill or Lumberjack?
It's Lumba Ova.
It's over?
It's over.
Well, dag on it. Thank you, WWE Network, for, bugging
But
out
I won't
again.
tell you who wins.
Damn it. Oh, well, Charlotte's got the belt, so it looks like she won. Okay, woo! Charlotte won!
Maybe she stole it.
Well, I see that the Lumberjills were on the outside getting crazy. That's always nice. A little bit of fighting there. Naomi was in the ring. What the hell was she doing there? She's not even in this match. Yep. Oh, and Charlotte with the beautiful moonsault. The thing is, with legs like hers, as tall as she is, I'm surprised she doesn't get hurt doing that.
Well, I mean, that's what, like, we have talked about before. It's like, when she first started doing it, it looked kind of odd. Everybody's like, well, that just looks weird. But
yeah,
I seriously think it's because she is so tall that, we're not used to people that tall coming, doing somersaults like that over the ring. And so that's where that came from.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to see that she won. I'm not necessarily not a fan of Natalya, but I don't know. I'd rather see Charlotte with the title. That's just me. Maybe it's because she's a Flair.
Well, to me, Charlotte is one of the ones that represents the next generation in WWE's female wrestlers.
Right.
Natalya is still one of the holdovers for the Divas division. Nothing against her. She's got talent. She's got the stuff. But it's just, I don't think she can go to the caliber that Charlotte can. And Becky and, some of the other ones that are coming out. And so, that's what I just think.
Natalya in the ring, I guess right now, crying about losing the match, and now she's upset and screaming at fans, and that's kind of stupid, honestly.
Now she's doing the whole sore loser aspect. Well, I don't know what looks dumber. Her little cat ears on her head or, like, the poop on her head.
the woman bun. It's no longer it's not a man bun because, clearly. But I guess it's just a bun when a woman does it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and
we try to do away with sexism here on Corner to Corner.
I mean, it could be a woe man's bun.
A woe man. Whoa, man. There's a bun.
What's happening? She's doing the dramatic pause.
Oh. Well, the WWE Universe turned their back on her.
They turned their back on you a long time ago, girl. No, well,
Oh, is she quitting? Is she done? Is Natalya retiring? That would actually kind of suck. She's very good.
She's not retiring. She's doing a heel turn that really makes no sense.
But she was already a heel.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said it makes no sense. It's like
I'm confused already.
it'd be like Ric Flair of the '80s coming out going, you know what? I don't care what you say.
Yeah,
of course you don't.
Right. Maybe she is retiring. She's legit. Is she legitimately crying? Nah, I don't know. I get all caught up in these things.
She looked right at the camera.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad. Bring home.
What is this? A little video game preview action. Become the ultimate champion. Oh, this must be for the new WWE Mayhem. This is something that's been available through the UK for quite some time. Whoa, old school taker there. That's kind of neat. Download for free now on the App Store. Cool, it's available in the US. All right.
So, guys, if you know that if we get disconnected, you know what's happened.
Right.
We get disconnected. Stan doesn't went and
downloaded and played. I'm playing Mayhem, damn it.
Yeah. He's like, I'm out of here.
Plus, hey, there was 40% off on WWE Shop for championship titles. So if anybody's trying to earn some big brownie points on Stan's Christmas list. Hey. No.
What would be what would be the one of
Oh my
the
gosh.
title of choice right now because I know you like the UK title.
Yes, I love the UK title.
You don't have a Universal title.
Nope, I don't have that, and I really like the new NXT Championship. So it's man, that's a tough call. If I had to pick just one, I may actually just go old school and do the Attitude Era belt. Or maybe the Undisputed. God, there's too many to pick from. There really is.
Right.
I tell you the one I wouldn't pick, and it's a shame because I was excited when they brought the title back. The Cruiserweight title. I mean, it looks like it's supposed to be stuck to the back of somebody's car. It just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. I'm like, I see Enzo wearing it, and I'm like, well, at least he's wearing the belt. We'll give him that. But it looks just weird. It's like part of Batman's uniform or something.
Yeah, I mean, to me it was cool at first, but then it's just kind of whatever.
Well, I'd do away with the purple and just make the strap black, but that's my opinion.
Well, see, to me it goes with the division that that's dying a slow,
miserable
painful death.
Yes, definitely a painful one because those talents are all indie-made talents. Here's something that we talk about a lot: support your local indie wrestling fed. Support your indie wrestlers. We represent UCW. We have a blast with them. We do everything we can to support them. But here we are. We've got WWE with 205 Live. All right, honestly, Rob, between you and I, because you and I are along the same mindset, I think. Tony Nese, Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Noam Dar, Mustafa Ali. I mean, just to name a few, those are the guys that TJP and of course Brian Kendrick. Those are guys that were all on the Indies before the Cruiserweight Classic. Had we not watched them on the Cruiserweight Classic, would we know who they are? Maybe if we saw them with Nova. Maybe.
I mean, maybe if we saw them with Nova, but maybe if we had gotten out of where we're at region wise.
Yes.
But. And that's the thing 205 Live needs to do is it needs to focus on that talent, like you said. I
mean, these are...
Right. I understand the WWE's desire to bring in their known guys, the ones they've made.
Right.
The Enzos, the Neville's,
yeah,
the Kalistos. I meant because you got to bring in something that's going to draw a new audience.
Right.
Well, the problem is, I was at a SmackDown Live where they filmed 205 Live, and never in my entire wrestling fan history of going to events have I ever seen people get up and leave from ringside seats during an event.
Yeah.
I mean, when they said, all right, we're done filming SmackDown Live, we're now filming 205 Live. And people, a good 50, 60 people got up and left.
Yeah.
They just didn't care.
Well, and there's the thing. Brian talks a lot about it, being one to broaden your horizons, get outside the machine. So here you go. You got 205 Live that has Kalisto and Enzo and Brian Kendrick, WWE-made guys. But you've also got so many other talents, but they can't buy viewers. They can't pay people to stay. And the sad part about that is the wrestling itself is actually very good.
Right.
I mean, we all agree, I think, that, Cedric Alexander deserves his shot, deserves his chance to be Cruiserweight champion. I mean, I think that goes without saying.
Right. I mean, I think Cedric Alexander deserves his shot. To me, they haven't developed the storylines and the people.
Right.
In this world of WWE and this episodic thing that they're doing, they haven't spent no time developing 205 Live and the characters.
Right.
I mean, it's every week it's a singles match or a tag team, 6-man, 4-man, Yeah, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of playing that game TNM on the
Mm-hmm.
computer.
Yeah.
And you know how we first started TNM, you only had a certain amount of wrestlers, so every card involved everyone.
And it was most times it was the same matches just to see if you could change it up as far as result.
Right. That is 205 Live. It's a
Right.
live action version of TNM. You know, and I mean, it's like you feel bad for these people because, like, the night I was there, they had a pumpkin match. It was Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
They had a pumpkin match, and it was like nobody cared.
Yeah.
You know, like nobody. I mean, the only reason people stayed is because they said, "Hey, after this is over, we're gonna have a exclusive main event: AJ Styles, Randy Orton versus Jinder and Sami Zayn." So then everybody's like, "Okay, we'll stay for that." But that's the only reason. And we've talked many times and for many conversations about how they could fix it. To me, I'll say it again, is they're giving away all the good stuff on Raw.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't watch 205 Live. I'll be honest. I'm one of the problems. I don't watch 205 Live because all I need to know about 205 Live, I get on Monday Night Raw. You know, I don't need to turn on the network.
Right. And that's a big indicator of what the problem is. I mean, they do their title feuds on Raw. They do their title matches on Raw. They do their their only storyline, really, on Raw. So, yeah, you're absolutely correct.
You know, imagine how not TNA,
Whoa,
NXT. NXT. Think of how much different I did it again. How much different NXT would be if all their big main feuds and all their big things were done on SmackDown.
Yeah.
You know, imagine if on SmackDown is when you have the champions face each other, or vice versa. You know, it's like I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to entice people to go to the network to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the best things they've done for SmackDown and Raw is they don't talk about it on the different shows anymore.
Right, exactly.
You know,
and that's made a big difference for them.
Yeah, they don't spend half the time talking about it. So if they would stop talking about 205 Live, then you never know. Maybe they would have, you know, and I'm trying to talk about something other than the Bludgeon Brothers, because you know they look like their outfits look like Kane. They look like Kane's poor cousins.
Kane's poor hillbilly cousins.
You know what I mean? Like
he's who goes house to house to convince people to vote for Kane.
You know, like they're the one. They're gonna have an angle in a couple months. Like, the Undertaker hurt us too.
Oh, that's gold. That's gold, Jerry. Gold. I mean, but here's the sad part. I mean, Breezango, which I'm not a big fan of either guy. I mean, they're okay, but Breezango is an entertaining tag team. The Fashion Files is actually pretty funny, but they're going to get killed by the Bludgeon Brothers.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt they're going to die. But and I think Breezango, everybody knew it was a joke when they tagged together,
right?
And I think they are a result. They're kind of like New Day in effect, you know, because they were meant to be something else. The fans demanded this, and now look, you know, like. The fans kind of joked about it, and then they homed in their joke.
Yeah, Tyler just got mugged from behind. Now Fandango is about to get messed up. Oh,
well, and if you look,
ouch.
The good thing about Eric Rowan is that he will always have a belt. I mean, he's already got a belt around his waist, so he doesn't need to win one.
Is that a sign of was that bad out of shape that they put a girdle on him? And made him wear it as part of his ring gear.
You know, like,
oh, God! Tyler's dead. Tyler is dead. His face, he just
Oh,
ate the
God.
apron. Holy hell.
How do you sell that? See, now you're a little ahead of me.
Ouch. I mean,
Like, how
that
do you
can't be
not
right.
just, like, want to die?
Oh. Did
Well, at least we
Breezango
know.
just piss people off? I mean, what the heck?
I think, is this Vince's way of saying, I know you like them, but I am still in control?
Yeah, exactly. Ow.
You know, the old matches they used to do with the people, like, yes, Sean, you can wrestle, but you must wrestle the entire roster.
Right, the gauntlet match.
With one hand tied behind your back.
Jeez. And you know what? If you look at the fans' reaction, that's a quick match, by the way. Look at the fans' reaction. They're laughing more than anything else at just how bad of a beatdown that was. And here's another shot of Tyler. Oh, God.
You know, the worst part about this match is it gave the audience time to reflect on the $8 beer they just bought.
The watered-down beer.
You know, like...
Some pimply-faced kid probably sweating their beer, and they're probably all upset about it now.
I know, they're probably just now going... Or the fact that they've been drinking since they got there, and now they're realizing that the buzz is getting off. Like,
Oh, now they've got microphones. Don't talk.
No, don't let them talk.
Come on, jeez, you ruined it. Dude, they are indeed Kane's bum hillbilly cousins. I think that's probably the best comparison I've heard yet. Oh!
I wonder if the Ascension sitting in the back going, don't do it. Don't stop. You know?
Maybe the Ascension and the Bludgeon Brothers form a stable. They could just
undesirables.
There you go, the undesirables. The island of misfit toys.
Yeah, the island of misfit gimmicks. They can be led by Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, I still can't believe Dolph is U.S. champ now. I mean, the guy comes out to the beginning of his music, and they do the whole record scratching or whatever, and then he comes out with no music. He goes for the super kick, which is the sweet chin music, and he warms up the band because he's trying to be Shawn Michaels. I don't get that. Why? You're at the level you are, Dolph. You don't need to be Shawn Michaels. Then you've got Bobby Roode, who you blew up as the next big thing, and he loses. And apparently Baron Corbin's on some kind of punishment. Because this is, the third month in a row they've made him look foolish?
Well, I mean, and then they interview him, and they out themselves. They're like, hey, you were unsuccessful in cashing in your Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And then, now you've lost this, so how do you suck even more?
Exactly. Did you squander this opportunity too, Baron? Did you piss off Vince again?
I want to know who gave her the idea that this Oompa Loompa haircut was going to do. Was like,
well, she's got the see-through shirt over top of the sports bra. It's almost like she's wearing a shirt made out of pantyhose.
And the skirt was something she found in the back of the dancer's closet or something. I don't know.
They shopped at Goodwill before they went on the air this evening.
But hey, there's nothing wrong with Goodwill. I like Goodwill.
Actually, I do too. That's a good point. Hey, so some news of the week. Congratulations to Dalton Castle, the new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, defeating Cody in what can only be described as an entertaining classic between the two. Cody came out with bleach blonde hair, though.
Did you see the gash on the side of Cody's eye?
Yes, that looked nasty. Ugh. Hey, congratulations again to Bully Ray on officially retiring after this past Friday. Great matchup with he and Tommy Dreamer against the Briscoes on Friday night. Let's see here.
And new Ring of Honor, did another title change hands in Ring of Honor?
Yes, the TV championship. Silas Young is the new TV champion for Ring of Honor. Congratulations to Mr. Silas Young. So that's from Final Battle, which was a great pay-per-view. I'd certainly recommend it. You can actually order that through Fight TV. So if you need an opportunity to go ahead and get that shot, get some Ring of Honor action in your blood, there you go. Hey, we did find out earlier this morning of the passing of former WWE/WWF, WCW superstar Tom Zink, the Z-Man, Can-Am Connection, tagging with Brian Pillman. I thought that he was a very, very talented guy. I know he was very vocal after his time had kind of passed as far as his thoughts on some of the guys, but he seemed very talented to me. I always wondered if maybe he would be like the next big star, but I guess he just never really blew up that way. But definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and condolences for the loss of the Z-Man.
Yeah, I think one of the things about the Z-Man was that he had that charisma, he had that entertainment, but he came along at the time of the big guys.
Yeah.
And he didn't fit the mold of the next tier, so when he went to a certain point, then they're like, all right, what now?
Right.
And, 59 years old is what I saw.
Man.
So
apparently he had passed on the 9th of December. So it was just recently made public by Bill Apter. He made it public today, so.
Yeah. Bill Apter, we saw him in Charlotte.
Yes.
And he pulled out that bag and started pulling all that stuff out. And that just makes me think, every time someone says his name, Bill Apter, I'm going, I wonder what his house looks like. Like the random stuff that wrestlers have given him over the years.
He strikes me as the kind of guy that probably has like a man cave kind of situation. But aside from that, it's just a normal, low-key kind of guy. I mean, he's very entertaining. He's definitely very engaged with the industry, but I honestly think that he probably, outside of that, man cave kind of deal that he probably has, I bet you he's just a low-key, kind of laid-back dude. He just does wrestling whenever he's asked. And that's probably a big switch from when, he was running all the Apter mags, which would have been PWI and all of that. But he was, I think Bill Apter should be in WWE, honestly. I think he should be part of their staff.
Could you imagine if he got in charge of the vault?
Oh, God. He would be going nuts.
Well, I mean, you imagine if he did like a show on the network.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling time of wrestling with Bill Apter, or history with Bill Apter.
Yeah.
Something. Because he knows it all. He almost knows everybody. He's talked to all kinds of people, so, maybe we'll start that. Hashtag Bill Apter to WWE.
I agree. We should do that. We should definitely do that. Hey, so I did see some other news of the week.
You did you?
I did. This one, a little tough to talk about, but we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about it. So, Justin Credible was booked at a wrestling show over the weekend, and apparently came to the ring under the influence. Now, he did not wrestle the match that I'm aware of. He came out and did a promo. However, he's been very public about his battle for sobriety. I've had brief conversations with him through Twitter as far as just what he's been doing and how he's been working at it. And, our thoughts go out to Mr. Justin Credible as far as the efforts that he's going through. I understand he is obviously very disappointed in himself because of he was very excited to get back in the ring. He had initially retired thinking he was totally done, but still being in some demand, he wanted to go ahead and start taking more bookings. And he came out. He wasn't in the best form, we'll put it that way. And of course, Rob, the dirt sheets, as soon as they got wind of it, they tore him up. They were throwing the video on YouTube and doing what, essentially, as a reporter, if you're looking for something to get your site news and clicks, I guess you do that. But I did have a bit of a conversation with him today. I'm glad to hear that he's actually going to be working with DDP to try to get himself back on track. And hey, I think if there's a guy that can help you maybe get your life in order and keep everything on the right track, I think Diamond Dallas Page is the guy to go to.
Well, I think it goes down to that. It goes down to the desire to change and then having the avenue to do it. We see it all the time in our society, in our community, and you see the people who have addictions. They struggle with them, but when you don't change your surroundings, and that's the problem with someone like Justin Credible. Not saying there's anything wrong with him. I'm just saying someone of his fame, going to an indie show or going to a local fed, and you're the headliner. They're going to give you whatever you want.
Right.
They're going to tell you whatever you want to hear because you're the man. You know what I mean? So they're not going to say no, and they're not going to sell him, hey, and you never know. It could have been them saying, hey, here, have a few beers, man. We're going to drink. We're going to have a beer with Just Incredible. This is awesome.
Right.
Not understanding the true desire that he had. And then him being the political, him being the showman, you don't want to say, no, man, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
I can't do it. Well, maybe it takes getting away from it to actually be able to help yourself.
It's we talk about everything here on Corner to Corner. We talked about Leah Rush briefly with what he did on Twitter. We talked about Rich Swann last week. The incident that happened with him and his wife. We try to be as fair as we can, and sometimes you can't be anything but honest about it. In this case, very similar to Scott Hall, Justin Credible has been battling this for a long time. He's really been trying to get himself straight, and as we see with many, many people that deal with addiction, there's struggling points, there's stumbling blocks, and I agree with you. If you don't change your environment, if you don't change the area that you're at to get yourself grounded and centered, then it's never going to change. And I think the best possible thing for him, and of course this is only my opinion, but I did tell him this earlier today. Wellness, his own individual wellness, is of course the most important. And I hope to God to see him, get back in a ring, if that's truly what he wants to do. But I think getting to DDP's self-proclaimed accountability crib and getting himself an opportunity to just get right and maybe find some peace. On this other side of that, a little bit more disappointing is reports that I read this morning of Scott Hall apparently getting into an altercation with King Kong Bundy, as odd as that sounds. And apparently Scott Hall was inebriated as well. So, I think there was a time where we as wrestling fans were like, the next big wrestling death is going to be Scott Hall. Because he was in such awful shape. It was going to be a race between him and Jake Roberts. Now, to our knowledge, Jake Roberts, since getting with DDP, has been straight the whole time. But to Scott Hall, he's had his struggle points just kind of like Justin Credible has. Hopefully this is just a bump in the road he's able to get past.
Right. Well, arguing the other side of the thing with Scott Hall, you know what I mean? Somebody with his past, somebody with his history. It's not going to take a whole lot for people to be like, oh, he was inebriated.
Right.
It could have been he got in the ring and he had one drink. And then all of a sudden he was a drunken slob.
Right.
And because that's people that, like you said, clickbait. That's what people want to do. That's what people are trying to do. And they know that what people want to hear is Scott Hall had alcohol.
Right.
You know, where nothing ever is said between him and Jake Roberts and anybody. Nothing's been ever said that they couldn't drink or that they weren't going to drink. It's just that they had to control themselves. You know. But it just comes with anything in society. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's what's going to sell. You know, like, you know, the fact that Scott Hall saved this person, did this person, da da da. It's not going to go. But Scott Hall, we saw him coming out of 7-Eleven with a 6-pack.
Right.
You know. Oh, wait a minute, Just Incredible. He just got out of rehab, and he said he wasn't going to do this, but guess what? He was drunk at a show. You know. And our society has gotten so quick to point out the faults in people and not give them, one, an avenue to change, and two, the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we've got Randy Orton sitting in the ring where he's decided, like, apparently to grow his hair out again.
Yeah, but it's not like it's like a mohawk, I guess. An Orton hawk? I don't even know how to describe it. It's like super long at the top, but like not really. Kind of like a chia pet.
Right. It's just Vince must have a thing with snakes. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because you got Jake the Snake Roberts, you got the Venom, you got the Viper Randy Orton, you got, you know, Texas Rattlesnake. It's like,
right.
What happened? You don't have the friendly old gardener snake?
Well, I mean, he gets on these kicks, and I think that the comparison that so many people gave of Randy Orton to Jake Roberts with the RKO, he dove head first. He's like, "Yep, that's what we're gonna do. He's the next Jake Roberts."
Well, I will say that the fun I've had tonight is the fan that keeps having the different signs. Have you seen that?
Yeah, Final Fantasy VIII sucks.
And he said, "I still love Mike McGurk." You know,
yeah, I did see that. There was one that called for Techno Team 2000.
You know, like, you got to give the credit.
Now, is it a shock here that this isn't the main event? I mean, this is a major storyline here. We've got Shane and Daniel Bryan in the ring, both of them as referees apparently in the ring.
Is it bad? I thought it was the main event.
We're skipping the title match. We're done here.
I'm so over gender. It's like, all right. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
I was getting ready to go on this whole rant about how WWE once again doesn't defend the world title.
Well, I mean, if Gender wins tonight, I mean, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure what the hell they're trying to do with that belt.
I mean, sorry, you caught me mid yawn.
Am I boring you, sir?
No, it's no.
And this is the hazards of live radio.
We've just lost half the listeners.
They're like, "Ew, man, what the hell?"
And since we only had 2, that really sucks. No,
come back,
Mom. Turn your radio on, please.
We miss you.
No, it's just there's no clear where that people are trying to go. You know what I mean? Like, they let out the whole thing that it's going to be Brock versus so and so at WrestleMania. All right. Well, then obviously it's going to be Brock versus whoever because Brock never shows up.
Right.
You know, but this title, you have it, and you've got AJ Styles, and you could be having AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens. You could be having AJ Styles versus Nakamura. You could be having AJ Styles versus Bobby Roode. You could be having AJ Styles versus, I'll even say it, Randy Orton. You know, but no, we're stuck here for what now? 3 months in a row, and now it's Jinder versus AJ again.
So both Daniel Bryan and Shane go down for the count there to try to count the 3. I don't get it. I agree with you though. As far as Jinder, I don't know what their thought process was, except that they were trying to, much like TNA, get into the India market. Now, the difference between TNA and WWE is WWE will get in there, but if you watch any of the footage of... Watch the footage of Triple H and Jinder, because it's on their website at this point. Triple H gets the reaction, whereas Jinder doesn't. And then at the end...
because everybody knows he's from where?
Canada! He's Canadian! I mean, and that's okay. I mean, we know what WWE is. We know what wrestling is. Everybody that is remotely a fan of the industry itself has an understanding, at least to an extent, of what it is. So why try to dress it up and put a character in there to try to appease to them when you could just be yourself and that you'd still appease to them? You know, why does it have to change? Am I wrong for saying that? I mean, is that culturally insensitive for me to say something like that?
No, I mean, it goes along with what I was going to say, is the fact that you've got, it's different when they go to the UK, right, and they have Finn Balor, or Becky Lynch, because guess what? They're from there.
Yeah.
You go to Canada and you've got Sami Zayn, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, because, they're from there.
Yeah.
When they go up to Seattle, Washington, and the Oregon area, and guess, Daniel Bryan's from there.
Yeah.
The people of India know that Jinder is not from there. Now, if you had a natural-born a star from India, trying to figure out how to say it properly,
right,
then it would work.
I mean, even though I don't like the Great Khali, he is legitimately a huge superstar in India. And when he was champion, it was a huge deal there. And they did break ground in that market. So I understood why they had that going on. But then Jinder was a manufactured character. And it was just, I get tired of the old, foreign gimmick where they, like Rusev. Suddenly it was WWE the USA was at war with Bulgaria. Why?
It was better when he was from Russia.
Right.
But then all of a sudden overnight he defected to Bulgaria.
Right.
And the world doesn't give two grats poops about that. Like the whole gender thing would have been like the whole, Shane just dropped his mic.
Oh yeah, he did. The headset's all out of whack.
But like it'd have been like WWE in the 80s, 90s, doing a gimmick where, wait a minute, we're going to Kuwait, or Iraq, and Sergeant Slaughter is a great leader, hero of the Iraqi people. He's not. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you're trying to say that Jinder is the hero of those people, and they're like, he's not even from here. Like, we don't care.
So, let me get this right, and I'm just kind of interjecting with what's going on the pay-per-view here. So, here we go. We've got another attempt at a cover. Shane makes the count. Now, a few moments ago, both Daniel Bryan and Shane attempted the same count. One on the left, one on the right side of the ring. And then Daniel Bryan does like this invisible line, you take this half, I'll take this half. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm watching a triple threat.
Yeah. You stay on your half of your room.
Right? That's what it seems like. No, this is my half. No, this is mine.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody earlier, and they said that they shared a room with their sister growing up. Mm-hmm. And that they put a tape down. They got so tired of their sister messing the room up. They put a piece of tape down the middle of it. And they realized the sister didn't care. And she didn't realize until after a while that she put the door on the sister's side of the room. So she couldn't get out. She was like, no wonder she wasn't mad. And it's like this. It's like, wait a minute. But this is one of those gimmicks that it's like, we've said in chat groups all week.
Yeah.
You know where it's coming. You know where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's going to happen. It's just you got to wait to get there. And the most entertaining part of this match is I've been trying to figure out if that's real duct tape on Sami Zayn's tights or, like.
I like watching Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. I like this heel turn that Sami's got going on. I think it is good for him. It lets him express himself a little bit more creatively. I want to see Daniel Bryan come back to the ring, even though part of me is scared of it because of the quote unquote propaganda about his health. But if he's cleared, and I think what would happen tonight is if Daniel Bryan takes any kind of shots tonight, I would consider that WWE saying he's cleared to be back in the ring.
Right, and I think it's going to happen. I mean, if there's any way of him being clear and the WWE knows that he can be clear,
yeah,
and they know that they're going to lose him if they don't do something with him. I mean, Daniel Bryan is money.
Mm-hmm.
A Daniel Bryan comeback is money. A Daniel Bryan comeback where he gets a world title is WrestleMania moment extreme.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's like he could fight the Machine, He turns on, he causes Shane, He does the whole thing with Shane, and then, Shane gets pissed at him, and Shane says, all right, you want to stay in the WWE, you want your job, you have to earn it,
Right.
And he fights the whole gauntlet of people to it then end up, before they know it, he's got a world title.
Right. I mean, could you imagine seeing him versus AJ Styles?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think, and that would be funny. That'd be amazing. I was trying to think of somebody else, but my mouth wouldn't shut up, and my mind wouldn't work fast enough. Sorry.
Well, him and Kevin Owens, him and Sami Zayn. I mean, the thing is, it's that Steve Austin says it a lot. Your bump card only has so many shots you can take. So if you're going to go out, and you're going to go out on your shield, so to speak, might as well set yourself up on a huge, tour extravaganza where you just take on as many people as you can. I mean, just those matchups would be amazing.
Well, I mean, and where else would you want to have your final hurrah?
Right.
Would you want to have your final hurrah on the indie circuit running around, or would you want to have your final hurrah on the grandest stage of all at WrestleMania in the WWE?
I agree because I think that's one of the things that WWE does well. Is they know how to do a send off. They know how to.
Except when it comes to the Undertaker.
Yeah. Well, but see, I wonder if some of that is the Undertaker refusing to retire.
Yeah, it's that guy who always said he's going to quit at a job, but he never does.
Exactly.
So when the day he does, we're all going, all right, when are you coming back?
Right. Well, and that's just it, because Vince is ridiculously loyal to a lot of his people. Like Triple H before he got married to Stephanie, Shawn Michaels, all the things he put him through, but he still kept him. The Undertaker, who was loyal to the company the entire time. So if Taker says, yeah, I want to work WrestleMania, Vince says, well, I see money here. Okay, let's do it. But at the same time, every year, I would say since, honestly, since WrestleMania 30, every year, Taker has just not looked good. And it's not to say that he was in poor shape, but when he got beat by Brock, when he got that concussion, I think that may have been an indicator to him that his days were quickly going past. And I think what a lot of people forget is that, just like we were talking about when it comes to bump cards, you've only got so much left in the tank, and you have to take advantage of it while you can. Sometimes that means, kind of like Edge, leaving before you're really ready, even though health-wise you have to. But other times it means, going out on your own terms. And I keep thinking that that's why Taker hasn't stopped yet, because he wants to have that one last epic. And, I mean, to be honest, we've got a lot of top stars that have great matches, but I don't know if we have top stars that understand the psychology of it the way that Michaels did with his matchup with him.
Right.
So, I mean...
Right, I mean, problem is, I don't think The Undertaker could go if he needed him to.
Right, exactly.
I mean, every match, and I think that comes down to, and nothing saying against The Undertaker, but it's like, when you work a almost no time schedule, you know, like if the Undertaker would come back and then he would do matches here and there and wrestle every so often and do that, then yeah, I think he could have a run.
Mm-hmm.
But when you come back and you basically work 1-2 matches a year, you know, like I think wrestling's a very demanding sport, and it's something that you've got to be constantly doing to stay proficient and fluid at. And I think the last couple of years we've seen, in particular, you've seen the holes in the fabric of who is the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with that one WrestleMania where they did the WrestleMania 24 and he collapsed backstage when the match was over, when he lost the end of the streak, and then the fact that like the rumor is that, you know, every last couple of WrestleManias he's been almost, you know, like limping and had to have surgery and was out and And it's because I think it's just because his body's no longer used to the daily grind of what is wrestling, you know. So
right. I mean, you can't forget what we saw at the Royal Rumble last year. You know, he's at the Royal Rumble. Everybody's all psyched because Taker is back, and then he's not moving, man. He can't really get going, and you know his hip is bothering him, and all of that. It was an uncomfortable thing to watch. And then we get to WrestleMania. We watch what should be, by I would say most people's estimation or determination, an epic between Roman Reigns and the Undertaker turns into how can the Undertaker keep going? How can this keep happening? Because it just doesn't make any sense. See now a little bit of that headset problem that happened with Shane McMahon is now playing out into the match as Daniel Bryan has to convey between both sides of the ring. But getting back to our conversation here, you take what we've seen with Taker, and now we see with, you know, we're talking about, you know, how many bumps do you have left? How many chances do you have on your body until it's finally done? If Daniel Bryan gets an opportunity for a comeback, you figure WWE would be very, very strict on what they would do next. You figure they'd be watching him like a hawk.
Right, and I think that they would. I don't think he'd be thrown into things. I think you would see him and Shane do a series.
Right.
You know, I think him and Shane would do a series because then they would know exactly because of the level, you know, and then, you know, all right, well, he keeps beating Shane, and then Shane says, all right, well, fine. And Shane kind of turns from the fan favorite to the heel and says, well, then you can fight this person now, you know, and then starts throwing people in front of him, you know, Baron Corbin and different things, to then finally get him to beat whoever the world champ is, you know, so.
Right.
Or say, you know what? That's an idea I just had, you know, and probably what you were going to say is Shane says, fine, if you don't do business with me and you don't do that, fine. I can't protect you anymore. You're in the Rumble.
Yeah, I could see that play out because, I mean, they've done it so much on Raw where they've had the strife between the GM and the commish. Yeah, GM and commissioner. That they haven't done it yet on SmackDown. This would be the opportunity. You put him in the Rumble, you can protect him in the Battle Royal situation. You could have him come out even at like 20, maybe 15, just to show that he can still go a little bit. And it's maybe a more controlled environment. The problem or the concern that you have is then, okay, we get past the Rumble. Say he wins the Rumble. Now you've got to pick his opponent, and you do it one of two ways. If you know that he's only going to have maybe one or two matches, then I think Rob's right. I think we see a series with Shane McMahon. Maybe Shane cost him his chance at the Rumble, and then we see at WrestleMania, you know, Daniel Bryan versus Shane McMahon, which in and of itself would actually be a very good matchup. So I think that would be very good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I liked Daniel Bryan towards the end. I was bummed when he got hurt and had to leave.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you all can ask Stan. I was sitting there when we went to Charlottesville, and I was like, all right, I want a Daniel Bryan shirt, but I don't want the one that look like Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
But, you know, so I was a little jealous last week when I saw the Yep shirts. I'm going, wait a minute. Website doesn't have the Yes shirts in 2X. Like, come on, damn it.
I'll tell you this, with WWE, they are definitely capitalizing on their shop website this Christmas season. Every single day I get an email from WWE shop about, X percent off on T-shirts, buy one get one. I mean, they are capitalizing big. I bet you their merch sales right now is through the roof.
Well, you got to think they've got, the WWE is probably one of the best marketing, merchandising companies out there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get a little frustrated that I wish their action figures would catch up with their storylines.
Yeah,
Because it's like, I mean, you finally release NXT figures, but you release all the guys that are no longer in NXT.
yeah, everybody that's been called up. That's true.
So it's like, and then you have certain gimmicks and certain things, and then by the time it gets through production and distribution and everything, the gimmick's over. But now the toys are out.
Yeah, exactly.
I think. Go ahead.
I was going to say, just on a side note, speaking of figures, I got the whole set of Series 2 for the retro. Haha.
Ooh, where'd you get those at?
My local Walmart, actually. They were all there. I was like, this is awesome. Every single one. I was like, yep, I'll get them. They're mine. Mine. Mine.
I bet you said in your head, all right, if they're here, I'll get one.
Right, exactly.
And then you're like, damn it. They're all here.
Well, yeah, and you remember because the first series, it took about 8 months for me to get the first series collected. Because
8 months in how many states?
At least 2 or 3, because we had Undertaker and Ultimate Warrior that I couldn't find anywhere. You found Ultimate Warrior, and Brian found Undertaker. So
right.
I couldn't find them. That drove me nuts.
And then for the next 6 months or 3 months, every time now, even today, you go to Walmart right now here in this town, and you will find the Undertaker sitting there in a box.
Yep. And you'll find the Ultimate Warrior. I've seen him a few times. It drives me nuts because, they do that on purpose. They make it a chase figure and make you have to really go after it, and then when that happens, it freaks you out. You get it, and then now it's everywhere.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the time when I was collecting Star Trek figures.
He's got to be choking the hell out of him there. Why was he... I don't know if you saw that, Rob, but he was just grabbing onto that knee pad forever. Jeez, what the heck was that all about? You think maybe Orton turns tonight instead of Daniel Bryan and Shane?
Well, I've never seen Randy Orton as a good guy.
Oh, there's the RKO. Nice. He's just smiling, taking his time. Oh! Owens just pushed Daniel Bryan onto Shane. That was something. Okay, interesting to have this play out here. Well, Shane is pissed off. Oh, man. Look, he's all in his face, too. Hey, look, there's Nick Gator from Twitter. Haha. We see you, Gator Man. He's the big bald dude with the glasses on in the front row.
Ah.
There's Kevin Owens getting up there in the corner. RKO to Owens. Ouch. Wow. Where's Shinsuke? Did he go through the table?
Shinsuke went to the table a while ago. In my feed, you must have passed me because now all I'm doing is watching them get mad at each other.
Oh,
and
wait.
Randy Orton's now standing there. Oh, RKO now.
Wait a minute. They're battling with the small package. That just seems awkward to say. Oh, Shane refused to count the 3. Are you kidding me? Wow. So he had him rolled up. He had him down for the 3. Now, I think he may have had the tights on there, but then he refused to count it. Look at Daniel Bryan in his face. Wow, crowd is all going into the yes. And you have to forgive us, or forgive me here, folks, because we're really enjoying this moment here. And oh, the fast count by Daniel Bryan! Are you kidding me? Wow, you don't give any opportunities to call it as it happens like that, but that's wow. Well, if you needed an opportunity to not necessarily have a heel turn, but actually maybe turn Kevin and Sammy face. There you go. What do you think, Rob?
Yep.
I didn't see that part coming. I didn't see the fast count. Shinsuke gets up. I just went through the table, but I'm really pissed right now.
Shinsuke's like, anybody have a sandwich? I'm hungry.
And some Tylenol. Shane just looks like the dejected teenager.
Shane's like, I'll sit here and pout and then sell this T-shirt for the next 6 months on the WWE shop.
Oh, wow. That was actually an interesting sequence. I mean, the match itself was a mess. You kind of knew it was going to be as soon as we found out both of them were going to be in the ring at the same time. But, yeah, see, he didn't have the tights, did he? Dang. Wow. I thought he did it first.
No?
Wow. Well, there you have it. That is pretty funny that Daniel Bryan hits the quick 3 count. Shane just missed him. Oops.
She's like, oops, sorry.
Wow. Oh. Sammy and Kevin are doing the yep chant. That's funny. So Randy Orton dropped Shinsuke here. This is the part. This is always, folks. This is always the part of the show when we do pay-per-view shows. It's tough because we'll get into conversations and start covering, and then something cool happens, or one of those things you want to see, and you get caught up in it. I think it's the fun of wrestling that you just get sucked in. And that was a
Oh, yeah.
video too.
Oh, yeah. We sit here and we talk about how it's so predictable and then we find ourselves going,
Exactly. What pay-per-view was it? I think it was, we got back from Charlotte, and there was a pay-per-view on. And we got home, and we watched it, and we broadcasted, but I want to say that there was at least, in the total of the show, maybe 15 minutes of dead air, as we were just, like, half asleep, half sucked in.
Yeah. And Shinsuke's like, why was I in this angle? Like,
right.
Damn it. Like, I could have been fighting Bobby Roode. You could have Dolph in here for all sake.
Yeah, exactly. Man. Okay, so actually, good that this promo comes up. So the next bit of news that came up out of this week, WWE announcing the Mixed Match Challenge. It's going to be mixed tag team matches, a 12-week tournament live on Facebook Watch, or Facebook Live. Raw versus SmackDown. So we know that Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Sasha Banks, Bayley, they're involved. Alexa Bliss is involved. Goldust, Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Bobby Roode, and a whole slew of others. It's an interesting concept, and apparently there's going to be like a trophy of some type, and it's actually going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern on the 16th when it starts. Rob, what do you think of the Mixed Match Challenge?
I think it's a pretty cool concept if done right. I just don't know how you're going to get past the whole, or Vince's, the whole men versus women thing. Like they did it with China years ago, but I think there's going to be your ongoing thing is like eventually the female is going to lock up with the male in the ring. And if you've got Braun on one of the teams and you've got, it's how do you do that?
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting interesting turn of events. I'm interested in seeing it, and I know that we've all talked about it at one point or another, maybe possibly trying to go to the SmackDown that's going to be local. So who knows? Maybe we can check that stuff out.
Yeah, and I think it's nice to see. It just proves our point again that WWE is listening and watching us and stealing our gimmicks. And
Exactly. Well, that's nothing new there, sir.
I mean,
Hey, quick.
UCW does Facebook Live match the last show, and now everybody's doing Facebook Live.
You know what? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. We do Facebook Live, and we get the talk of the town. Next thing you know, oh, well, we can do a Facebook Live match. And now WWE is doing a Facebook Live show. Bunch of freaking artists.
Well, I mean, I don't understand. Part of me doesn't understand why you're going to do it when you have your own network.
You know what? What does that mean in the grand scheme of things? I guess I have no idea, man.
It's kind of like when Oprah decided, I'm not doing my show. And everybody's like, why? And she's like, because I have a network.
Right.
Well,
I mean, but that's the other thing is, like, I never understood why, if you really wanted to do the network justice, why they wouldn't set up a schedule for actual wrestling shows instead of freaking Total Divas and, road stories and shit. Sorry. I mean, I never understood that. You got, guys doing ride along and all this stuff when you could actually do, hey, this month we're showing Nitro every night at 10 o'clock Eastern time or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
we're starting at the beginning.
Yeah. You could actually do Monday and Tuesday. Monday you do Raw, Tuesday you do Nitro.
You could do the Monday Night Wars all over again.
Yeah.
You could do live shows. You know what I mean? Like, hey, WWE Albuquerque, WWE, because hey, I would love to see a WWE show in India, but I can't get there. You know what I mean? Like, you could just broadcast it. You have a network, but you don't even have to broadcast it live if you don't want to. Do it delayed, so therefore it doesn't turn people away from going to the event. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like you said, this week they've got this week in WWE, but you got NXT, you got 205 Live should be a network only show. You've got all kinds of things they could put on there. You could start, like, if you have all these libraries, like you're talking about, you could be like, this week in AWA.
Mm-hmm.
Run AWA, run Jim Crockett Promotions, run Smoky Mountain. Start at the beginning and go. Build a storyline, because there'll probably build a following with these people.
Yeah.
And God, please say that Jinder never wears that checkered suit again.
So, WWE did a photo shoot with a lot of superstars this week with classic titles. Last week we talked about what if Hogan had gone down south instead of Flair going up to WWE. If you could bring back or redesign a title, which one would it be?
Today?
Yes.
The United States title. I would redesign the United States title back to the way, kind of circa what it was when I loved the era of, like, the Nikita and the combined, the later version that they had. But just a little bit different than what it's got now.
Yeah.
I like that they went back to the retro version of the Intercontinental title instead of the rounded one.
Right.
What about you?
I would probably go back to the Winged Eagle. I've always been a fan of that belt. I think that's my favorite one. I think that between that and, of course, the old school WCW one, which is my absolute favorite, I think the Winged Eagle really represents WWE/WWF for me. So if I was gonna redo one, I would just take the network logo belt and redesign it as redo it or just re-release the Winged Eagle with an updated logo. I mean, I just thought that one was prestigious, but it looked good, and it was unique. Like, you didn't see other belts like it.
Right. And I mean, I think we've all talked about how belts come and go, and we've seen belts. It would have been kind of neat when they did the Starcade thing. Would have been kind of neat for them to bring out, like, AJ Styles comes out, but he comes out with the big gold.
Oh, yeah, that would have been cool.
Like the tag team people, they come out, but they come out with either the old Jim Crockett Promotions belts, or they come out with the old WWE.
Yeah.
The belts of that time period. That'd be kind of neat. But
I mean, I think that some of them would have been, some of it would be cool to see. Some of it would have been cool to see, like, the TV title. I think that's a title that should have never been taken away. I think that belt still has a purpose. I think that the network title is the one that you call it the most.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want something to draw people in, you have the network title that can only be defended on
the network.
Right. And, kind of like what they're doing with the UK title, I mean, obviously, the European title years ago lost its allure because then they started defending it in Cleveland.
Right.
And they gave it to Shawn Michaels, and then it kind of went downhill from there. But, I've always been a fan of the network title. I've always been a fan of having titles to represent your lower tier. I agree with the arguments that we've heard in the past. I think you've done it and Brian's done it about how if you have too many titles, then it kind of pollutes it. But I think also, like Raw right now, like when you have your main person's not even there, the only title you have in question on TV every week is the Intercontinental title, which is great, but then again, it's not defended hardly ever, And I just like the allure, I guess, going back to titles. It's just like I always like the allure of a title change could happen at any moment. And now it's kind of like that unless it's one of the big pay-per-views, it ain't going anywhere.
Well, I mean, I always liked that, and I think it was Vince used to call it the anything can happen kind of thing. Anything can happen in the WWE. WCW, they did title changes right. Back in NWA, WCW times. I mean, it was teased. They teased it really well, but I always thought that was one of those things that was done right with WWE. They did have that at one point where they would let you know, they would kind of let you think that anything could happen, even though maybe it wasn't necessarily how it was really going to go, but it's just one of those deals where I miss that era too. I mean, I guess the last time we really saw that was in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, back in a Saturday night's main event, kind of thing, when they had that.
Yeah.
When they'd be like, they'd get on there and they'd be like, tonight, I'm taking that belt from you, Hogan. It's coming up right. And then Hogan's like, oh, no. And you're like, it could happen tonight.
Yeah.
It's Saturday night main event. This doesn't happen often. Oh, my God. They could. And then, okay, Hogan kept it. Okay, everything's good. All right. I can go to bed now.
Right. Well, you remember not only that, but there was a time where, like, you would stay up late. Like, you would purposely stay up late just to watch, Saturday night's main event or the Clash of Champions when it would come on because it only came on, Clash of Champions was once every quarter, wasn't it?
Again, caught me in the yawn. Damn it. Yes.
You have to forgive us, folks. We're old. It happens.
As
I cough my head off.
But, yeah, I mean, when the Clash of Champions came, because you knew that was WCW's version of Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yes. Yeah.
and it was their answer to the pay per view.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they didn't do pay per views all the time. That was their answer. All right, we're going to do a network thing, and it was like awesome because you didn't have to pay for it.
Right.
And then, I still liked the whole lethal lottery.
Oh yeah, Battle Bowl. That was cool.
Like you come out, you spin it, that's your teammate. Could you imagine if they did that now and Jinder and AJ are on the same team?
Yeah, I mean you have a lot of different dynamics that you could really work that with, and it's a one night only kind of a thing. You do maybe you do the battle royal where you give them a trophy. It doesn't have to be for a belt. It doesn't necessarily have to be that story, but it could set you up for a number one contendership, or I don't know. I think there's so many different things that they had back then that at the time just seemed kind of off the wall, but now it's like, man, they would really be able to do it. They could really do well with this.
Oh, I love this. Spin the wheel, make the deal.
Yep.
Like, oh, wait, what kind of match is it?
Yep.
Like, oh. Now, of course, nowadays they do it digitally.
Yeah.
It'd be like 15 different on the board. It would be 15 normal matches, and then it'd be like one small little sliver of like barbed wire death match.
WWE couldn't do a barbed wire death match now. I think
be like, you have a 1% chance this is not going to be a normal match. Like.
I think Vince would absolutely poop his pants if they ever had to do that. I don't think he has the sack to get back into that kind of a mix. I think he's too wrapped up in the entertainment part of it that he's forgotten what it means to be part of the sport. Like
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, you see all these other promotions out there that are putting on just classics from an art standpoint, but also from a brutality standpoint. And then you see WWE, which just can't seem to get out of its wholesome family entertainment lane, which it has its place, and they still have tremendous matchups from time to time, but it's where Brian gets dejected by the machine because it's the same stuff over and over.
Right, and I was thinking about it, Brian's talked about, what the hell is that thing sitting there by ringside? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
It's been there all night. Yeah, it's. I guess it is, but it's been there all night, and I don't think it's done anything.
Maybe we haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's Sin Cara's entrance. He's going to fly out of that little nozzle or something.
Hop in the ring and kill everybody.
Well, I think one thing, like when Brian talking about New Japan coming to the States.
Mm-hmm.
And that WWE's going to fold and WWE's going to crumble. I think WWE's not going to crumble. I think what's going to do, it's going to force WWE to make the decision that's needed to be done for years.
Right.
I think it would force Vince and the WWE policymakers to say, you know what, Vince, it's time for Hunter to call the shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for you to be involved, but more as a boardroom and as a figurehead.
Mm-hmm.
You're not calling the day-to-day shots because look what Hunter's done with NXT.
Right.
NXT could go toe-to-toe with New Japan, I think.
Jeez, it looks like AJ Styles just, damn, he could have been broke a rib.
That just looks bad. I mean, how do you sell the ankle and sell like you just got dropped on these steel cables?
Right.
And wait a minute, you're trying to guard it so you don't land on your head.
And then apparently Jinder is he just selling the leg or did he take a false step? I don't know, man. I mean,
he's shaking the juice.
Yeah, right. He's trying to get the circulation back in after the shot, the injection. That's where the injection point was.
Josh Hamilton's like, I have no place to go. I can't back up anymore.
Oh, that's definitely a camera, Rob. That thing at ringside, that's a camera, but I'm not sure exactly what the camera is doing since it hasn't shown any kind of angles from that area.
Is it the WWE butt shot camera?
Maybe it's a lighting thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's what it's a teleprompter.
It's how they do their interviews now.
Oh, that would be so bad.
I am here to tell you that I am really angry at the one
The phenomenal. AJ Styles. Yeah, I know that guy.
Oh, that had to hurt.
What about the news that apparently broke just a couple days ago that Vince McMahon is looking to bring back the XFL?
I saw that you said that, and I could not believe it. I mean, one, I know people are getting tired of the NFL.
Yes.
The
Yeah,
NFL's turning a lot into the XFL,
that's true also.
but they're taking a lot of the play out. And I know the whole thing about Vince and the XFL was let the players play.
Right.
I truly believe that the downfall of the XFL was when Vince started intertwining. You know, when The Rock came out into the big whole promo before the match, that took the game. That to me, took something away from the XFL. But
I mean, I remember the games a little bit. I mean, you didn't have a whole lot of superstar players. You had a few. You had Tommy Maddox, who ended up going to the Steelers. You had He Hate Me, Rod Smart, who went to the Panthers and played in one of their Super Bowl seasons. But aside from them, I mean, I don't remember a whole lot. God, that is a vicious shot over that rail. But aside from that, you don't really remember a lot of the teams as far as talent-wise. I mean, the gameplay was good. The play-by-play was all right. Then they started getting pressure from NBC because they were airing it the way they wanted to air it, as far as like camera angles and everything. And NBC kept telling them, no, we want to see it like the NFL does it. So then they changed their viewpoint to try to fit what the network wanted. Oh my God! What a shot onto the table. Damn. Anyway, they changed their viewpoint.
that they just rebuilt.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's the one that Shinsuke went through.
Mm-hmm.
But when the XFL folded, it was basically because it was NFL light. They had just ultimately went back to what NBC wanted, and then they lost their contract because they just couldn't deliver as far as the ratings. Because you remember when the XFL first started, it was a huge hit, and then as they made changes going forward, it just fell off. I'm not saying that they can't be successful with it, but I think right now, at least from the WWE perspective, from a WWE perspective, I think that that time may have passed.
Well, I mean, I think I might have to argue that now the time may be the best because people want to see football. People want to see football in our country, but people don't want to see, I mean, you've messed up with the extra points. You've moved this. You've messed up with overtime. You moved the kickoff. You can't hit this person. Oh my God! If the quarterback gets anywhere except the little bubble he's playing in,
Mm-hmm.
you got to tag him. It's two-hand touch with the quarterback, and then it's like, I think, and if you look at what the XFL did, the camera angles,
Mm-hmm.
some of the play that they had, the NFL has adopted some of what the XFL did.
Yeah.
And but you've seen the same thing with the Arena Football League. Like,
Yeah.
the NBC brought the Arena Football League and brought them on the TV, and then they had a big run, and then you saw John Bon Jovi buy a team, and then the TV deal fell through, and I don't know if John Bon Jovi still owns a team, but like,
I think he owns the Arena Football League.
so, but we'll see. I mean, this has definitely been a one-sided match.
Yeah, this has been all gender pretty much. Wow.
And I'm wondering, is the whole gender thing, is this even the same gender that was in Three-Man Band? Like, is this like the whole Warrior thing? Like, is this a different one?
I don't know, man. I mean, you give credit where it's due. Even if he is on steroids, it takes a hell of a lot of work and hard work at that to get from Three-Man Band to former WWE champion facing AJ Styles for the title. I'm not a fan of the guy as far as wanting to see him as champion, but it doesn't mean that I don't respect his hard work, because something he's done has worked for him, because now he's at the top of the card.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that they still haven't made an action figure, so.
Well, they have to find a way to cover up the injection sites.
Yeah.
And how do you make an action figure with back knee? You know what I mean?
Well, they all include something.
There you go.
So maybe his will come with his own ass injector or something, you know? Like,
Jinder Mahal with the hypodermic needle. This will be the episode of Corner to Corner that gets us the cease and desist.
you know, like it'll come with its own. This is not a child's toy. This is an adult collectible.
Don't try this at home, kids.
You know, it's the only one that you push the button. It doesn't say, "I am Jinder Mahal. I am the modern day Maharaja." It says, "Do not do this at home, kids. Drugs are bad."
Drugs are bad. Okay. I thought they were banned from ringside. Why are the Sing Boys out there?
Because they're the new WWE's version of James Ellsworth. You know, like they're there and they know that they're on limited time. You know, like.
You know, I still think that they missed the boat with Ellsworth and not having him win the title for like a one-night-only thing. Back when he was feuding with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose.
It would have been great if they put him in a triple threat and then he won it by mistake.
Right.
But, oh.
God. Well, is he going to F5 him now?
No, he's just do that big, like, I'm going to grit my teeth and.
Ow. That gut check was harsh. Dang.
I mean, Jinder does play the creepy guy role really well.
Yeah, he does a good job as a bad guy. That's true. Well, and who could forget, hey, how about when he knocked Finn Balor out on Monday Night Raw and gave him a concussion? You can't forget that. I mean, that was a shot that everybody heard.
I mean, it just, that's another one. Like, Finn Balor. You know, I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
There's no reason Finn Balor should not, and that's the problem with their world champ not being around. Like, Finn Balor should have gold around his waist.
I agree.
Like, you hear the crowd cheer. I mean, Roman Reigns, if anything, Roman Reigns should not have the Intercontinental title. It should be Finn Balor.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. With a guy like Roman Reigns, you're in a tough spot. Now, in a perfect world, you'd have gotten him over, and he'd be back down the card at some point in a tag match. But right now, you've got... Oh, God, what the hell? He slipped down from the top rope, and now he's getting choked. Oh, no, never mind. Anyway, you have this problem where if you put Roman Reigns outside of the mid-card, you got to put him in a tag team, or you put him at the main event. So then Balor gets screwed all over again, because then he gets pigeonholed to the Intercontinental title. Or, if you put him in the main event, then he's facing Roman Reigns, and ultimately losing to Roman Reigns. So... I mean, that's just looking at the world, you know, through today's perspective.
Right. And it's just, come on.
I will say this. The reaction that Roman gets right now as Intercontinental Champion, while better than when he was on his main event run, still not up to what he needs if they're expecting to get him over by WrestleMania.
Exactly. I mean, to me... The ship has sailed. You know, unless you're going to put him against unless you're going to put him against Brock and let Brock whoop his ass.
Well, I mean, I would do that. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has the one guy they just can't beat. You know, Cena had Punk. AJ Styles or Dean Ambrose was able to beat everybody except AJ Styles. Everybody's got that one guy they just can't beat.
Hogan could beat everybody except himself.
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to use Hogan, you could use the Warrior.
True, he never beat the Warrior.
I mean, I think that there's always that guy, and there's nothing wrong with that story. I mean, you could have Roman Reigns. This be the second time he's facing Brock Lesnar in a one-on-one match at WrestleMania. You know, I didn't beat him at WrestleMania before. I didn't beat him. He loses again, and maybe I know it's going to make people unhappy, but then maybe you still have that story play out. Only it's not for a title the next time. Brock versus Roman 3. You know what I mean? I mean, you could do that, and that storyline I think would help get him and Brock over.
Yep. I just don't like talking about Roman.
Well, all right, is Roman or Jinder? Pick one.
Yeah. And that shows you how into the match it is. It's like, all right, the world title's on the line. I got AJ Styles. I love AJ Styles. I think AJ Styles is awesome. And we're going to talk about Roman Reigns.
Did you see that shot? Jeez.
What?
He like gorilla press slammed him, only not really.
He just threw him up there and just dropped him.
Yep. See ya, AJ. Oh, no.
He's like, catch yourself.
Screw catching these hands. Catch yourself.
Yeah. Like, get up. Hot potato.
Damn. I wonder if they just told him, just mess him up, man.
Well, and it's like, I wonder if, like, you know, you got to think the thing's going through their head. Because you know the ring isn't that soft.
Right.
You know, so it's like, hold up. You know, they come back through and they're like, you're getting thrown up there, and all you see is that mat, and you're going, this is gonna suck.
Right.
You know,
you're probably wondering how I got in this position. Smash.
Yeah. It's like when they do the somersault off the rope, and they know the person's gonna move. You know, you're like, oh, this is gonna suck.
This is when
Here
I knew
we go.
It all went wrong.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you see the shows where, like, they fly up and they pause, like the old Dukes of Hazzard. It's like, what's going to happen? You think they're going, you know, like, well, guess we'll be back right after this. No!
You're probably wondering why they stuck here. We'll see in a minute. No!
Yeah. We always talk about bad choices. Well, here we go.
Oh, he just did Ryback's finish, the shell shock. Are you kidding me? He just did Ryback's finish. That's awesome. And that's a shot of Jinder we never need to see again. Let's never do that. Thanks. You. Nobody ever needs to see Jinder Mahal's crotch. Let's never show that angle again.
What
a shot.
So you're like 30 seconds ahead of me, so it's like,
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. You've been 30 seconds ahead since the other match.
Dang it.
It's all good. You're that person that sits in the movie theater. Oh, man, when I saw this the first time, I never thought that was the person that was going to do the killing.
Spoiler alert.
Son of a bitch. What the hell? Sorry, I can't say that. I'm sorry.
No, you can say that. We're on Spreaker. We can do it whenever we want.
Oh, well, Eddie, it's 10:39, and I don't know what the 30-second mark, so, you know, you just flag that there.
Yeah, you know what? I don't have, like, the seconds counter pulled up. Oh, what the? Did they just say Jinder just beat the hell out of AJ? I mean, come on. Damn, that's nuts.
Well, I guess they realized that AJ can sell better, and AJ flies more.
Yeah.
Well, like, how could AJ kick out of that? I mean, Jinder was laying on his face.
Dang.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, when they pin these people and they pull their legs up and they put that forearm across the face, I wonder if they get in the back and they're like, you know what, I'm going to kick your ass.
I've always wondered that, too, because some of them, who was it? Bret Hart used to do it. Remember, he used to, like, push with his forearm down, like, across the bridge of their nose. And I always wondered, like, dude, how do you do that without just, like Rob said, starting a fight backstage?
You know, like, God. Or like that thing Rusev did, you know, like the camel clutch into the, I'm going to break your spine and make your head kiss your ass.
I'm pretty sure back in our younger days, you guys probably tried to do that to me. I'm just saying.
I mean, to me, it's like the sternum only stretches so far.
Yep, we have
Unless
a friend that
Mike,
can attest
Mike
to
has a
that.
hinge.
He's an accordion.
You know? Mike, if you're
Inside
listening, we
baseball.
love you, brother.
I'll never forget those times. He's going to do
But,
that 450. He's going to hurt himself bad here.
but I will say,
Oh, he hit it.
that move was, I would say, 40% my fault.
I mean, when it comes down to it.
40% me, 40% Mike, and the rest was just dumb luck.
That's what happens when you throw it the chance. Oh, no, don't do the Styles Clash on the floor. I'm so scared somebody's going to get hurt. Oh! I know, Rob. I know. I'm sorry. I'm just calling it as I see it here, man. One of these days, somebody's going to not take that right. It's happened so many times in the past outside of WWE. Well, no, it happened to Ellsworth, and I'm surprised he lived after that.
Well, he took that thing on the stairs, remember?
Yeah, and he was all folded up. That was nasty.
All right, here comes Jinder getting back in it.
Oh! Wow, nice shot.
Never mind.
Oh, there's the what is it called? What does he call his? Why are these people wanting? I don't understand. What is it with the internet wrestling community wanting to see Jinder Mahal as WWE champion? What do you guys see in this guy? Is it because he's like Heath Slater? He's the guy you hate to love or love to hate? I just don't get it. I don't see it. It's right up there with why I didn't like Braun Strowman at first and Rusev, because it just seems played out. I don't understand where people get into this stuff.
Right. I mean, my thing is, if Jinder doesn't win, which I don't know the ending, so if it's already happened, then you all can just shut it. But
Jinder's face is cut up.
I mean, if Jinder doesn't win, then what do you do with Jinder at this point?
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't have Jinder go against him. I mean, it's like he goes down the card. But there is the U.S. title. I mean, he could go after Dolph. He could, he would be a great U.S. champ, doing the whole, I'm going to make the U.S. great again thing. Like we've seen it all the time, but it's just so.
That's a good point. I mean, you've you've put all your eggs in one basket with Jinder Mahal. You forced yourself into a position now where if Jinder loses, if Jinder is not your WWE champion, then you're screwed, because you send him back down the card, and then what are you going to do? If you take that's kind of a cool counter. You just take the time, you put the money, and you did all this effort, and Jinder doesn't win. Now where do you go? Where do you put him now? If he wins, now you're screwed because you've still got a champion that can't draw. You got a champion that can't sell merch. I mean, I don't see any Jinder Mahal t-shirts. I really don't. I know they have them, but I don't see them in the audience.
Well, they weren't there when I went to SmackDown Live, and he was champ then.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he was.
And we will say the winner is.
Oh, you want me to actually say it?
Yeah.
Well, after a really cool reversal of the Jinder was just about to get to the ropes, and
the winner is
AJ Styles.
It doesn't matter.
We gotta go.
Yeah, we're out of time. We're out of time. We gotta go. Oh my God. Okay, we're turn up nights. Oh, never mind. Okay.
Good night, everybody. I mean, that was actually a pretty cool finish. So he was going to the rope, and AJ grabs him in like a body clutch and rolls backwards, puts him right back in the calf crusher, and wins by submission. So, okay, AJ wins in his rematch. So he retains. I was about to say Brian. Rob, could we actually see Shinsuke versus AJ at WrestleMania?
I think it would be amazing. Amazing. Shinsuke versus AJ. You know how long you could do that? You could throw that belt back, and you could do a Sasha and Charlotte thing with AJ and Shinsuke.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you could do a best of 7 series every 6 months for all I care. That
I
would
mean,
be
imagine
great.
that in a cage and a no disqualification match, a submission match.
2 out of 3 falls.
Yep.
Man, I tell you. Hey, here's something I just realized. All this time, they've been in Boston. And you know who is from Boston that wasn't even on the event tonight? John Cena. Your hometown boy that could have probably sold a heck of a lot of tickets. Dang.
Well, it's just because they don't. WWE's the WWE's with Cena is now in Hogan status with WWE. You know,
Wow.
like they to me like they don't. They need to prove that they can do it without him. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know,
That makes good sense.
because unless for like the little cheap preview, what else would you bring him in there for?
You know, I mean, you could easily say that, Cena is in Hogan territory. I guess I had never really thought of it that way. But you're right.
He's got more titles than Hogan.
Well, yeah, and I mean, he's been on top up until recently, but I mean, he's been on top about as long as Hogan was.
Well, and the thing about it is,
Wow, that's crazy.
the difference between Cena and Hogan is Cena is a one company man.
Right.
You will never see Cena go somewhere else.
Right.
Now,
Right.
there may be a day you see Cena turn bad, but
That'd be cool.
you will never see. And the difference is Cena doesn't need to.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Cena's at that point where he doesn't need to. He's made enough. There's more money in today's wrestling than there is. Like being a NASCAR fan. There's more money in NASCAR now than there was back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
You know, everybody says, "Oh, this driver is retiring and this driver doesn't need." Well, I mean, when you make $6 million a year from race earnings, that doesn't include merch sales and other things.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, after a couple of years, you don't really need to do it anymore if you don't want to. So John Cena, I mean, what else have they done? You can't have him wrestle full time,
Yeah.
be there full time, and him not break Ric Flair's record.
That's true. I mean, and I'm guessing at this point it's just because he doesn't want to break Ric Flair's record. Because I'm sure he could go to Vince and say, "I want to break the record," and Vince would say, "Okay."
Well, I think also it has to do with the fact that Ric Flair was sick.
Yeah, that's very true.
And they're like, "All right, we can't break Ric Flair's record without Ric Flair being there."
Right.
It's got to be a special thing. Which Ric Flair, there's part of him that, even though he says yes, I know it's going to happen. It's kind of like the whole Richard Petty 200 wins. It's like, yay, but you really deep down don't want anybody to ever beat it. And now we got to figure out, one, what the hell is day one-ish, and two, what is the USO Penitentiary?
Day one is H.
Is that telling you like day one is hell at the USO Penitentiary? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, they're supposed to be bad guys that now everybody likes. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, they're not a bad tag team. They are actually very good. I'm not saying that they don't deserve to be champs, but I am going to say that it gets very old very fast seeing the same character play out that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. So, Rob, we're coming up towards the end here. Clash of Champions.
The end of the show as we know it. Ratings going down. Sorry.
So, with the event being just finished up here, what would you say was match of the night?
Match of the night is going to be. I would almost say the Shinsuke Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens and AJ and Sami Zayn.
Hmm.
I liked the Jinder versus AJ match. I thought it was great. I thought it was good. There were some good spots in the match, and I'm glad that AJ won. But what would you
Yeah.
say?
Um. Hmm. I would. You know what? I'd probably agree with you that it was probably the Owens and Sami Zayn versus Orton and Shinsuke, only because of the way that it unfolded as far as the storyline. Wrestling wise, I don't know that there was a bad match wrestling wise. Um, like I said, I was glad to see that Mojo beat Zack Ryder because I just want to see. I like Mojo. He's a local guy, and I want to see him do well. But I like the continuity that they've got going on. I don't necessarily understand why why they made such a big deal of Shelton Benjamin coming back if they can't have him and Gable go over. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like they're the whole Mojo turn. You know, it's like the whole world is supposed to forget. Like Mojo's like, I won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. You know, when we weren't together. Blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. I mean, are we supposed to forget that Zack Ryder won the U.S. title and the Intercontinental title? That's a little bit better than the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. But anyway, um, damn it, I'm actually paying attention. I agree. For once, the best match was not on the pre-show.
Yeah.
That the pay-per-view actually had a match. We saw a WWE pay-per-view where they could have had titles easily. 3 titles change hands.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. And in realistic status. Building storylines for the next, couple months.
Right.
But, because, I mean, you saw the U.S. title change hands. That's going to build a storyline. You
Mm-hmm.
could have seen the tag titles change hands because I mean Benjamin and Gable were a solid team.
Yes.
I mean, I thought they were the team in that match. So then the women's match. I mean, you could have easily seen them cost that match for Natalya or Carmella coming out and cashing in her Money in the Bank. You know what I mean? And the lumber girls or lumber Jills, as they said,
Yeah.
help them. But
I mean, there's a lot of things that I think they get afraid to do as a company because they think they have to do a certain thing or a certain direction, and they just forget that. Not that this is going to be a bad thing to say, but it's just wrestling, man. Just do a wrestling finish. We've seen the Dusty finish before. We've seen all of these different things. We know what these things are, and it's sorry. I mean, it is what has been told to us, but it doesn't mean that we don't understand that wrestling can be fun and wrestling can have something that makes sense. I mean, because of the fact that we can think of times where wrestling did make sense, we know that it does happen and can. So, I mean, why not have it happen on a pay-per-view like tonight? Overall, I guess if I'm grading this pay-per-view,
all right, Uso, stop staring at the camera. You're creepy.
yeah, it is kind of scary when they do that. I would say C plus, B minus, somewhere in that.
Ooh, nice. I was going to give it a solid C.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I think the match, the Zayn and all that match, if it had to been so predictable,
Yeah.
that you were going to see there was going to be conflict between the two refs.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you knew that obviously, I guess it's like I'm jaded or whatever, but it's like you saw it coming. So like if I didn't see that coming, I'd have given it a B. But
yeah. I think there's some things that they could definitely improve on. I mean, like the women's matchup would have been a great opportunity to either have a title change, because I think people would be okay with seeing Charlotte chase. I mean, it worked, so why not? But at the same time, I think you also could have seen a cash in from Carmella, which would have made perfect sense. I think the problem with that is that what they're looking for in Carmella is kind of like what they had with Ziggler, where people almost forgot that he had the briefcase and then all of a sudden he cashed in. It was a huge moment. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen that way for Carmella. It's going to flop, and that's going to be bad.
Well, I mean, my thing is, like, are they building it up to where when she does cash it in, it's going to be one where she cashes it in and then she instantly loses it?
Right.
You know, because you're building Carmella up because you have not put her in any matches. You have not put her in any storylines since the whole Ellsworth thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she hasn't been in anything to where she can showcase what she can do. So you've got her with the briefcase. You got to build her character to where when she does cash it in, people can believe she can be the champ.
Yeah.
Not, oh, wait a minute, she's going to cash it in and then, never mind, she's losing it.
I think the dynamic changes with women wrestlers and male wrestlers. With women wrestlers, in my opinion, with the Money in the Bank briefcase, you have to designate that holder, the briefcase holder, as a legitimate threat. Whereas with the men, you can have a guy like Dolph Ziggler lose week in and week out, and then know in the back of your mind that at some point he could cash in and surprise everybody. That's the thing. Like I don't know if that's sexist or not, but to be honest with you, I think that's how it plays out. I think that's how you have to do that. Like with Carmella, you could have her go on a winning streak,
Right.
And then, maybe if as you're getting ready to have her cash in, and maybe it's telegraphed that way, but then when she's getting ready to cash in, then maybe she has a losing streak, so it seems unlikely. That makes sense to me. But you've still got to designate her as some kind of a threat, don't you?
Right. I think that's the way you're going to have to do it. It's just...
Yeah.
But WWE doesn't think that way. They're looking for the big money payoff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're looking for that night after WrestleMania moment. It's just not going to happen. I hate to break it to WWE. I'm sure that they think that they're all that in a box of crackers or whatever, but I just don't see it happening. So, Rob, we're getting ready to close this out here. Where can folks catch up with you on the social media?
Well, you can catch with me on RDHUWP on the Instagram, Rob Hefner on the Twitter. Rob Hefner Rob Hefner C2C on the Twitter. And then you can catch up with Brian at STRCP on the
STRCP 21 on the Twitter.
Or Professor Digweed. And Brian Taylor on Facebook. There, see, he's not even here, and we still did it.
Yeah. Well, he's not feeling good. This whole past week, maybe 2 weeks, I think we've all been trading back and forth the same horrible cough and cold. Anyhow, I can be caught on social media at Stan from Krypton on Twitter, Stan Grubb on Facebook. The show can be found C2C Radio Show on Twitter, or Corner to Corner on Instagram, or the Corner to Corner Show on Facebook. Don't forget, January 13th, Ultimate Championship Wrestling is bringing to you Defiance, and it's going to be in Ashland, Virginia at the Hoops Academy, and we are going to be getting in full swing very, very shortly as we get ready to unroll the red carpet as we head down to Ashland and get ready to bring Rob to the broadcast booth with myself and Brian. That should be an exciting evening of wrestling action. So we're looking forward to that. Make sure you go to ucwforever.com for all the details, or eventbrite.com for your tickets, keyword UCW. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for listening, and we will not be broadcasting live next Sunday, because guess what day that is? Christmas Eve. So,
And our name's not Scrooge, and yeah.
Exactly. So from the Corner to Corner crew, on behalf of Brian and Rob, have a very, very Merry Christmas and a great holiday season. I want to say that we love all of our fans and listeners. We definitely appreciate your support. Rob, I know we've talked about it. I don't know if we will record a show before Christmas or not, but I would say that we can expect to be back on the air as planned the Sunday after Christmas.
Well, no, because that's right around New Year's, so we got to figure out what's going on. So
New Year's Eve, jeez, I can't keep track of all these holidays, folks. We will keep you posted on Twitter and Facebook. Let you know what our schedule will be. We'll update it as needed and get everybody in the know. So
yeah, we will have a show. Either it'll be live or it'll be Memorex.
I always love the pure country throwback. All right, so for Rob and Brian, this is Stan Grubb saying thanks again. Have a great Christmas and holiday season, and we will see you next time right here on Corner to Corner. Have a great night, everybody.